Welcome to Soul Searching Space, a space to remember who you truly are, who you came here to be, and what you came here to do. To be crystal clear, going from black and white thinking to full color HD, working from the inside out, reclaiming your power, waking up to your inherent wholeness, aligning soul, heart, mind, and body. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode. Before we dive in, I just wanted to say that some of these episodes can be triggering. So it's very important to remember that we are all being and doing the best we can with the level of awareness we have. And all of this information is just to expand your consciousness and awareness so that you can find your own truth. So whatever your belief systems, whatever your connection, whatever connects you with the universal intelligence, whatever connects you in your heart, just know that whatever is shared is never meant to take you away from that. This is a space for you to explore and reflect, to go deeper and find your own truth. Go deeper into your own belief systems. Whatever flows through, keep that in your heart. And if anything is ever said that doesn't resonate, I invite you to just let it go and take what works and just leave what doesn't and see what's here for you. And also combine any of the insights, information you receive or resonate with in any of these episodes with our physical world resources. So, for example, if you find yourself in a dangerous environment or home situation, reach out to your local authorities, reach out to people that you love and trust to support you and help you. Reach out if you need guidance in your neighborhood, if you need resources to support your livelihood, your safety, and also your health as well. So all of this information in these episodes, they would never replace any type of medical attention or any type of real world resources that we need to rely on in our daily lives. So let's dive in. In the previous episode, we explored how we were programmed and conditioned during our childhood, and that we very often and most of the time are living in our perception of reality, living in our lens or our view of reality. And just to be clear, so when I say programming, conditioning, acquired mind, ego, personas, it is the process of interpreting and attaching meaning to the events that we are experiencing, making a story about the experience. A belief is a thought that we have thought so many times that it's become a belief. Over time, when enough repetition happens with consistent cues from our environment, we are being sculpted through neural pathways. And so over time, we have created what we are calling the programming, the conditioning, the acquired mind, the ego, the personas. So as I mentioned in the previous episode, we are looking to other people in our environment for those cues to help us make sense of what's going on, what we are experiencing, because we are unable to at that point, and our survival depends on it. Those neural pathways we are repeating They become our interpretations, our stories, our beliefs of the actual situation, event, circumstance, experience. We are hearing directly or indirectly from people who we interact with of their interpretation of us, how they experience us, how they perceive us. Because we are in theta, we are like sponges absorbing everything. They don't even have to say how they perceive us. We feel their energy. Our mind or personality is in many ways like a phone or a computer. So we might think of it this way. We are born with a flawless, clean operating system that performs the way it was intended to by universal intelligence. Then during the last trimester in the womb and right away after birth, all the way until about the age of 7, we are giving these kind of mandatory updates to our operating system. We are led to believe that these updates will be better for us. We are subconsciously told that they will increase our safety and security and help us perform better and make us better members of our family, community, and society. So we keep upgrading, so to speak, our operating system with these updates through our daily experiences. These updates create the beliefs and the stories. But instead of improving us, these updates actually move us further and further from our true nature, our essence, and makes it more and more challenging to access our true nature. Through these updates and experiences, we create our own meanings, our own stories and beliefs about life. These stories become deeply embedded in our subconscious and then manifests as limiting beliefs that influence much of what we think, say, be, and do. Self-limiting beliefs are the ones which have the greatest potential for impacting negatively upon us, achieving our full potential. We develop limiting beliefs to protect us from future pain. So let's dive into some of these stories, beliefs, programming, and conditioning we receive, because the more conscious we become to these programs, the less hold they will have on us. And just remember that the primary purpose of exploring these updates and programs is to understand ourselves at a deeper level and understanding our programming and our conditioning, which is why the way we are. We are not pointing fingers at parents or caregivers. We are remembering that everyone is being and doing the best they can with the level of awareness they have. We are remembering that these are well-meaning parents who are not consciously aware of the programs that they have been through. When we explore some of the most common stories and beliefs that most of us experience, we might notice that all of these are linked together in complex ways, and we all have these stories to a certain extent. These are things that we fear, and these causes us to believe in certain ways and be and do in certain ways. But it is expressed differently within each and every one of us because we have attached different meanings to different experiences, events, circumstances, and situations. These stories are, in a way, a subconscious fear of something. Because we perceived an experience as unsafe, we created a belief around it, causing us to fear something. So the first one is the fear of not being good enough and the fear of being unworthy. They can go separately, but I've also seen in so many cases that they often go hand in hand, that we often feel we need to hide parts of ourselves in order to be and feel loved, worthy, and accepted. These beliefs causes us to believe that we must prove ourselves to be worthy of love, that we must be and do good in order to receive love, to be worthy of love. At some point in our life, we were criticized or compared to someone who was better at something than us, so we believe we are not good enough. Believing we are not good enough manifests as perfection, anxiety, procrastination, and so many other things. We can also find the fear of failure along with these beliefs. If we try, we'll end up getting disappointed. It's a guaranteed way of keeping ourselves in the fake comfort zone by convincing ourselves that any new adventure we embark on is doomed to fail, so why even bother? In an effort to be universally loved by everyone, we come across and can kind of become a completely different person depending on who we are with. Not in the sense when we are filtering ourselves, when we are with a group of close friends versus co-workers. It's that we abandon some of our core values and belief to be accepted by another person, or actively pretending to be someone we are not in order to be liked. As we are constantly keeping parts of our personality hidden, it exhausts us and prevents us from actually connecting deeply and genuinely with others. We came to believe that we were loved and valued primarily for our performances and accomplishments. We become desperate to convince ourselves and others that we are enough. These beliefs causes the ever-present drive for accomplishment. It causes us to avoid feeling like a failure at all costs. We have a tendency to overachieve or overcompensate to prove our worth. This belief turned us into a human doing. Do more, work harder and longer, and get more done. If you want to be valued, to gain the approval of others and be important, you got to get things done. Stay busy. It's important to always be doing something. According to this update, your worth and your value is depending on what you do and how much of it you do and how fast you can do it. The modern world is built for speed. This belief takes us out of our center because it's impossible to move quickly and hold to the center. These beliefs causes us to think, I'm too young or too old to be X, Y, and Z. I'm not smart enough to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have enough experience for this big career opportunity. I'm not talented enough to get a promotion. I'm not talented enough to get a raise. I lack the confidence to be X, Y, and Z. I don't deserve a raise. I don't deserve X, Y, and Z. I can't or I will never be able to X, Y, and Z. I'm not good with money, people, new opportunities, X, Y, and Z. The second fear is the fear of being unwanted and unloved. This belief causes us to avoid feeling unwanted and unloved. We believe that our value depends on the positive responses of others, and that only by getting others to respond to us in a certain specific way will we feel loved. We end up people-pleasing because generosity is not the challenge. The challenge is the hidden expectation that our generosity will be rewarded with appreciation and reciprocity. When we have these tendencies, what we are trying to control is the perception others have of us. It causes us to think, if I do X, Y, and Z, maybe they will love me, maybe they will want me. All this doing causes us to feel that we are being taken for granted and unappreciated. This belief can lead into unconscious codependent behaviors, trying to get others to love us by giving more, and can also lead to the inability to love and accept others for who they are. It may cause us to think, I'm a failure in relationships. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody appreciates me. Nobody wants me around. The third fear is the fear of being useless. We begin to look for a role that has not been taken in order to feel useful, capable, and competent. A role we can fulfill which will give us a sense of place and belonging, because since we don't have one, we'll keep searching for one. These beliefs can cause us to think, if I become this kind of person for this person, I can be useful. And yet, once again, as we are constantly keeping parts of our personality hidden, it exhausts us and prevents us from actually connecting deeply and genuinely with others. Fear number 4, the fear of not belonging and fear of insignificance. These beliefs causes us to think we have no significance, we feel we are different from others and that we don't really belong. We often tend to identify ourselves with our changing feelings and emotional states. And since our feelings constantly change, so does our identity as well, causing us to feel lost and not have a sense of self. Fear number 5, the fear of exposure, also known as imposter syndrome. This belief causes anxiety about the world and doubting our own ability and capability to function independently, doubting our skills, our talents, our accomplishments, and we have a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. A condition where we feel like a fraud, unworthy of any opportunity that comes our way. Constantly doubting ourselves is exhausting, and we tend to believe that others know better than us. We are often caught in cycles of indecision and second guessing. We often rely on others that we are making the right decisions. We believe that we must look for guidance and security outside of ourselves. We might unknowingly self-sabotage ourselves by avoiding risks and trying new things. Fear number 6, fear of visibility. We attempt to keep a low profile, not to ask for much, and to be invisible in hopes that our presence will not add any more conflict to any situation, circumstance, event, or experience. It tells us that we must avoid conflict because if we don't, we will be abandoned. We disengage from our instinctual nature. We become kind of unself-conscious, mistakenly thinking that our presence, engagement, and what we bring to the world don't matter. Feeling insignificant can cause us to not stand up for ourselves and not speaking up. We may end up giving in to others, becoming a people pleaser, and have trouble communicating and setting and practicing boundaries. Fear number 7, fear of vulnerability. We believe that if we put our guard down, people will hurt us. It causes us to control. When we operate as if everyone is out to get us and we don't trust people with our true nature, we prevent ourselves of genuine relationships that have the power to improve our life. The challenge is that we think vulnerability equals weakness. However, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and show our true emotions. Unfortunately, this fear of vulnerability puts us in the path of emotionally unavailable people who aren't interested in getting to know us and know who we truly are, which then confirms the limiting belief that people will always hurt us. How many of us receive this download? Shh, don't cry. Crying is a natural way of releasing emotional energy. Emotions like sadness and grief, it tend to get stuck in the chest area when a parent shushes a child. They are essentially telling them to hold that emotional energy inside instead of releasing it, something we've all become subconsciously conditioned to. Fear number 8, the fear of change. It is said that nothing is permanent except change, and yet change is what we fear the most. Because change is unfamiliar, which then makes it unsafe. This belief causes us to feel a sense of powerlessness. We believe that life happens to us and not for us. Feelings of powerlessness creates a tunnel vision where it's difficult to see anything but potential danger, which keeps us frozen and unable to make any decisions that could potentially change our circumstances. It causes us to stay stuck and afraid of moving forward and saying yes to new opportunities. Do you notice some of the common themes here? Is the fear of being who we truly are? Which beliefs can you relate to, and how are they affecting your life today? How are they affecting you and your relationships? What is your relationship to money? What is your story about money? How many times have you thought you are good with money? I think for a lot of us, where you're not growing up around a lot of money, where we are told stories about wealthy people or rich people, and it's usually negative. And even in movies and animations and cartoons and these kinds of things, people with a lot of money are often portrayed as evil almost. Mr. Burns and so many other characters of the richest person is clearly a hated person and is a loner and just like selfish and is out to get everyone or the world or humanity. So there are all these stories we are fed, and I think one of the challenges we have is that we want to be wealthy, and then at the same time, subconsciously, we are afraid of being labeled as evil. So we sabotage often without even realizing it because we don't want that label. And at the same time, I think we are also so attached to our current identity that it feels scary to transform, grow, and evolve. What were some of the TV shows, movies, cartoons, and ads you watched during your childhood? What programs or upgrades or updates did you download as a result of these? What were the subconscious programming in the movies, in the cartoons, in the ads that you watched? Which famous people did they collaborate with to subconsciously plant the seed of exclusivity and that you can be like them? Which songs did you listen to Because when you listen to songs, you are also repeating thoughts, which then turns into beliefs. What beliefs do you have around image and appearance? We often learn that it is important with social media. It's downloaded to preteens and even early ages. This update is important to the fashion industry and the cosmetic industry. You need to be somebody. If you don't have status, you're not important. How many of us receive this download? This show and tell starts in school and continue with our careers, homes, clothes, cars, spouses, and social media posts. If there was no drive to prove ourselves and display ourselves in the best life possible to others, would we even engage on these platforms and foster so many loose connections? How many luxury brands are available to us to help us be somebody? Big brands, especially luxury brands, are built on this update of significance that they need to be somebody. In essence, there is simply nothing to prove. And then there is the opposite. What about celebrations? Do you often think it's no big deal? Who are you to celebrate this quote unquote small thing when others are doing so much better? Or that if you celebrate, others will be jealous, so keep your accomplishments and wins to yourself, or don't make other people feel bad, or it's inappropriate to focus on how well you are doing. Keep your head down and be modest. What about your relationship with love? Do you believe that you need to be loved by someone in order to be happy? The romantic update that starts with our parents and then the billion-dollar Hollywood industry. The princess is saved by the prince and they lived happily ever after, and so on. As long as we need to be loved by anything outside of ourselves to feel or be okay, we will always feel a sense of lack and an erotic drive to find security in others. We will feel like something is missing if we don't feel this love from another. And even if we do feel loved, we'll fear losing this external sense of security. So again, there is no right or wrong in the universe. So I'm not sharing these to make you feel bad or anything for that matter. I'm just here to allow you to find your own truth and be aware. Most importantly, be aware of why are you doing the things that you're doing. Are you doing them for yourself or are you doing them for others? Why? That's what all of this is about. It's about you and who you are and how you can embrace more of your true nature in your own specific, unique way that feels aligned for you, regardless of how others perceive you. So there are so many different beliefs, and all of these beliefs are intertwined and connected in complex ways. The key takeaway is that repeating thoughts over time become our reality, and as mentioned in some previous episodes, neuroplasticity is very real. It's the brain's ability to change those neural networks to create new ones. We can choose new habits and patterns to create new neural pathways so we can move towards our desired future. The first step is always awareness. When we become aware of our limiting beliefs, we can notice how repetitive they are, and we can notice the evidence of those pathways, of those programmed beliefs. we then have the opportunity to create this space for us to begin to let in new information of possibility and who we desire to be to create a new belief. If we don't, those limiting beliefs, they will subconsciously be on repeat, and it is strengthening those pathways, that neural network every single time. And it always starts with cultivating that self-awareness. If you haven't already, I invite you to listen or re-listen to episode 5, Moving Towards the Center, Cultivating Self-Awareness, and episode 6, Moving Towards the Center, the Nervous System and the Breath. Once we start questioning old stories and beliefs that were ingrained in us, we discover the reality of our true self, our true nature. Experiences are within you, not outside of you. For example, two people can take the same roller coaster ride in an amusement park, one happy and thrilled, and the other full of fear and shock. The same ride was experienced in two different ways by two people. The difference was in their inner world, not the outer world. No experience exists outside of the person experiencing it. The point is that when you choose to experience things positively, your life will be positive. The meaning of everything is the meaning you give it, and your experiences are what you say they are. Change the meaning you assign to your experiences, situations, circumstances, and events, and see and notice and observe how your life changes. Did something resonate with you? Who are you going to be, and what are you going to do about it? Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your presence. I look forward to being with you again. I am sending you so much love, and until next time, may you remember that every information you consume impacts your subconscious programming.